Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Jen, and in today's video I'm going to be harvesting sweet potatoes for my very first time. I'll share with you some of what I've learned about how to tell when they're ready, and then we'll harvest the sweet potatoes. Let's get into it. That's what the video was supposed to be about. Unfortunately, Mother Nature had different plans. Let me show you what happened when I harvested the first 2 slips of sweet potatoes. So I planted 3 different slips in this long raised bed. The first slip was here, the second slip was here, and then the third slip was over here. Let's look at the size of these stems. This is the very first slip that I planted 5 months ago. It's huge. And then a little bit over here is where I planted the second slip. You can see that one's a little bit not quite as big. Now if we move over here, I'm expecting this stem to be the smallest of the 3 because it was planted the latest by about 2 weeks. Yeah, so they all look ready. Yeah, so this one, you can still see pretty big stems that branched off right here and here. So I think we're ready to harvest all 3 of those. So I made the decision to plant the sweet potato slips in my raised bed, but since this was the first time I had ever done it, I was kind of worried about planting pretty much any other crop in the raised bed because I wasn't sure how their roots would be affected when it comes time to harvest my sweet potatoes. So I basically just have some perennial herbs that have been in there, and I have some marigolds that have gone crazy. What I'm going to do today is probably cut back a whole lot of that, which is okay by me because my next step after harvesting all these sweet potatoes out of the raised bed is amending the soil and getting it ready for my fall plantings. If you want to learn more about my fall plantings, I'll put a link up here to my recent video about my fall garden plan. So I'm definitely going to put gloves on for this. I've seen all kinds of bugs in here, and since I'm going to be kind of digging around and cutting back a lot of the flowers and the vines, I don't want to get bit by something. So I've cleared out most of the marigolds and the vines off the trellis so we could see what we were doing. Before I start digging them up, I want to show you an overhead view of what this looks like because I didn't even realize some of the sweet potatoes are sticking straight out. Can you see this one right here and this one right here? I'm going to try to just pull because I'm nervous if I use something like my trowel, I'm going to, cut it. And then I don't want to cut the sweet potato because if I cut it, then I have to use it before it cures and probably before I wanted to. Now, I chose to do it in a raised bed. This is my first time doing it, but I've heard other people not recommend a raised bed because sometimes it's hard to know if you got them all. So I may choose to never do this again. We'll see. Oh my gosh, look, this is crazy. This is so crazy. I swear, potatoes are my favorite thing to grow. Got my little. So, one of the things that's popular in Florida, a common pest, is root knot nematodes. I wonder, I'm going to read about what's happening with them. Let me show you what I see. See all these like bubbles? I'm not sure if that's root knot nematodes. Of course, I'm going to do some research before I publish this video, so I'll have an answer before I publish, but I think that might be a bad thing. This is my first time growing sweet potatoes, but I think this is a problem. Really hope that's not root knot nematodes. Now we're going to do this one, the second slip. Oops. This one looks, well, I still see bubbles like that. This is absolutely a root knot nematode infestation. So I may change my approach as I go, but I watched a really helpful video from the Urban Harvest, and she recommended a few simple things I can do. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and remove all of the plants that I have in the raised bed right now, which isn't really anything else except I've got to take out the third slip of sweet potatoes. I'll remove the herbs that I have in there, which is just chives and oregano and Thai basil, so it's not a big deal. And then I have 2 pepper plants that need to be pulled out of there. She said that pepper plants and tomatoes and okra are something that the root knot nematodes love, so I definitely need to get them out and get the roots out as well. Then I'm going to double check that I got all of the roots out of the garden. So all of the little tiny pieces of sweet potato root, they need to be completely taken out of the garden. Luckily, I was actually growing marigolds in the raised bed all summer long, and I just pulled them out before learning all of this. And so they're still in a pile of yard waste over there. So what I'm going to do is probably take the leaves from those marigold plants and lay them out throughout the raised bed, because the leaves of something like a marigold or some other cover crops that she mentioned would actually help repel the root knot nematodes. So I'm going to go ahead and try that, and then in the coming weeks I'm going to top the raised bed with a lot of compost, and then I will probably try to plant less susceptible plants in the fall in that particular raised bed. Another thing she recommended was adding crab meal, because something about the crab meal actually deters them. So I will probably try to buy some crab meal and incorporate it in the raised bed as I'm amending the soil in the next couple weeks. Now, I've only been gardening for like 2 years, so this is like my first real experience with root knot nematodes, and it feels pretty devastating. If you've ever felt like this, please comment below. Let me know how you deal with it. I really don't want to be discouraged to the point where I don't want to garden anymore in that raised bed. I want to try to figure out how to garden through it, since one of the main points that she was making in that video was that root knot nematodes are just a fact of life in Florida. We're going to have to figure out how to garden through it. And today I feel optimistic about that. Maybe my mind will change in the future. So unfortunately, I have felt the wrath of Mother Nature today. I hope you at least found some helpful tips or some enjoyment out of this video. Let me know in the comments how you have handled or dealt with root knot nematodes in the past. I plan to make some follow-up videos about how I'm dealing with the root knot nematode problem in my raised bed, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're interested in learning about that.